We'd like to say welcome to our live broadcast for today. This is the Gracious Hope live podcast on KMTV. KMTV, we are everywhere. And of course, today we continue the examination of ritualistic killings in our homeland, Liberia. We all hear the story, we all hear the rumors, and we have seen the reality. And today's program, the co-host of this program, Reverend Swat Dede, and I, we will be taking a look at some evidence, that is an audio evidence of a former government official accusing a current government official at the Justice Ministry of engaging in ritualistic killings. Moreover, we'll hear the reaction from the government of Liberia as well as the opposition party, ANC, regarding the safety of the Liberian people. Welcome once again. My name is Alexander Red, and of course, as always, our co-host Reverend Swat Dede is here. And this is a very serious matter, Reverend Dede, going on in our country.
Indeed, it is. It is serious. But I'd like to welcome my our guests, our listeners, our watchers, or viewers to this program today. Again, this is the day the Lord has made. We are going to rejoice and be glad in it. It is sad, it is disheartening that we have this news coming from our country, Liberia. No matter how far we are, distance does not matter. We are still linked to our country. We still love Liberia. So the news of ritualistic killing is something that will sadden anybody's heart. So we have come to discuss this issue today to do our best as former journalists to be balanced as much as we can do, and also bring the biblical perspectives to what it means not to kill other human beings. So, Alex, I'm glad to be here, but then I'm sad that we're discussing this topic today.
Yes, yes. We are all feeling sorrow within our hearts because it is a country, it's our country. No matter where you live in the diaspora, it is your country. And it is good that we bring this up because we know that killing is ultimately offensive to the holy God, that we know. And this platform, Gracious Hopes Fellowship, let's say podcast, is designed to talk about these contemporary issues that affect the Christian life and your life. And it is important that we understand that the Constitution guarantees every life, every livelihood, and the Constitution respects the sanctity of human life. And therefore, if someone's life is taken unwarrantedly, yes, we must voice out. We must talk about what is going on and what is in going on in the minds of those who engage in such a gruesome act. And so we will be playing that audio tape, and also we'll get a response from the accused. Reverend Deda will be looking at the response, and then we'll have the government position on what is going on, the safety, the overall safety condition in the country, as well as the opposition's response. So if you're just joining us, please share this link, share our link here with your friends, your relatives, and all those you love to look at this, because ritualistic killing is injustice, and we know that we stand for justice. So let justice be done to all. And that is a motto at the Justice Building, or the judiciary branch of our government. And so we call on you here. You can make your comments as well as share our link here with whatever you want to share with, because we got a whole lot going on here. And so, first, we will be bringing on the audio tape. That is the audio tape here of a government official who was accused of engaging in this gruesome act. Remember, this is an allegation, okay, by someone who formerly worked in the government, and then we'll get a response because we like to balance everything. So we'll also get a response from the accused as well. And so we'll now begin with the audio tape of the allegation against this public government official regarding this ritualistic killing, or his involvement in this ritualistic killing that is going on in Liberia. And it's a serious allegation that we believe that you need to hear, and also you need to also hear the response from, or the reaction from, the government official. So let's play that. Let's go.
Of course, I'm now with Gume anchoring. Let's go strictly for the voices of those making the news. As you may have heard earlier, former Liberia Aviation Authority Managing Director Ellen Cochran has accused the Solicitor General, Councillor Serena Sifos, and his collaborator, former rebel fighter Oforidea, of involvement in ritualistic killing in the country. Madam Cochran has been in a cell phone conversation with Prime FM.
So when he took me to that man and finding out, because I had already worked with Ofori and Sifos with a smaller medicine man when we did the guinea power and sheep and things. So this time now, of course, I said, okay, yeah, let's wait. Because facing her on his back. So once the medicine man, the man said that, do your sacrifice in addition to animal sacrifice. I said, no, I can't do your sacrifice. He said, well, that would be the fastest way for me to get results. I said, no. He said, hey, see the SG, and so we did the 3 virgin sacrifice. Then he got a position. And first year was the one that caught and captured kidnapped 3 virgin girls in Liberia to bring for the sacrifice for people. And right now, Stephen has done another 3 sacrifices because he wants the Minister of Justice job. And the 3 sacrifices are that all girls, virgin girls. He said for men, that 3 girls, for women are 4 girls. So I just told him, but why y'all charge more for women? And then he explained something which I didn't quite understand. I don't know, because of the mechanism that have to do with the women, female part, and something was explained. So I just left that mess alone.
That's what the medicine man was telling you. Is that what the medicine man was?
Yeah, exactly. And it's $12,000 for a virgin girl that you have to pay. So in other words, if I had done it, they would have charged me $48,000. But when they do it for men, that's $36,000 because they're gonna take 3 girls for men, but women are 4. So I told them no, I will not do virgin girls. Then he said, if you don't do the virgin girls, then we have to do 77 cows. So that's what we ended up doing. So I sent the money to Florida for him to take to the medicine man. I communicated with people and all. So when he carried the money
to sacrifice 77 cows. To sacrifice 77 cows.
77 cows for sacrifice, 100%.
Instead of human sacrifice.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I would have had to do 4 virgin girls, which is $48,000.
Okay.
But when we did the 77 cows, it came to just over 70,000 or around 72,000 because they calculated it when it says for the cow that you can get it for $1,000 money, you get it for $800. I don't know because I never bought cow in Liberia before, but I believe this. So that's the money I transferred to Furi for him to do the 77 cows for me.
You were doing these sacrifices so that the tension in America can be released, your shoulder of or what? Why were you doing all of these sacrifices?
The second sacrifice when I did the 77 cows, yes, that was for the tension in America. The first time when I did the Malian sheep, the cow, and the guinea fowl, when I was in Liberia, that was because of the need of the Republican. So that's correct.
Meanwhile, Madam Cochran has disclosed that due to a refusal for the human sacrifice, Councillor Serena Sifos and his collaborator Oforidea have resorted to harassing her mother back home in Liberia.
So I'm saying the principal acting like he's surprised that before he told me about him doing sacrifice in Watara. And I said, people, don't try that. I said, because by right, you as the Solicitor General, you're not supposed to be, if you're involved with animal sacrifice, no problem. But human sacrifice, that's a whole different level. So that's the conversation here I had. And now, here Ofori are saying that I broke my oath. Because I want Ofori first. Ofori said when he went to this Watara guy, he told Watara he had to take an oath. Because I said before you bring somebody from the outside, you got to take an oath that the person will comply with all the rules and regulations. And I never told Ofori to take oath on my behalf. Okay. He took the oath. And because I wouldn't do it now, he and people are now annoyed at me that they went and seized my mother's truck from the court yesterday. Before my mom is in like run, and she got a 14 to a brand new truck. When her husband died, he died about 2 years ago. The retirement that he left for my mother, she been trying to settle back in like where she bought a truck to be running up and down for business. And Ofori stole it. So when we're in court, it got arrested Ofori about 2 months ago. And he was in jail for 2 nights. Then people then were free him. They say that that's the man, people and Ofori were free a guy for So I said, no problem, I will call the media because when they get it out there, we're here in the first one we get it. So what people from coming confess about the killing of children as well as the story. How they managed to steal my mother truck. And when I said still, they sent armed sheriffs to the court yesterday afternoon to go and get it on my truck, and the truck is under the court's jurisdiction. That's the abuse of power, the additional abuse of power that Ritualistic is doing.
You are flagging this to the media. What do you want the media to do then?
I want you to get this information out because it needs to get to the Minister of Justice and whoever, because CFAS is supposed to be the chief prosecutor in the country. And obviously, if he is hiding people who are killing, meaning the Watara guy that was arrested by the people at Central Prison earlier this year in January. Even later in the year, Watara was in January. He's the medicine man that CFAS went helped to escape from prison, or he ordered that they should let him out of jail in January of Central Prison. The police they had him there for about a week, and the case was supposed to go forward, and CFAS allowed the man to go free. Then, before he was in jail about 2 months ago, CFAS allowed him to go free.
Okay, so we heard that that is a very, very brazen accusation against the sitting Solicitor General Cephas. How true is this? You know, I don't know whether she's saying the truth here because she's a former government official, and she has some a lot of other things on her head too. You know, she was accused of fraud. She's also indicted in U.S. court for siphoning money in the millions through the health crisis for our country. And so I'm not sure how credible is this allegation against the sitting Solicitor General. Do you have any? You have a response, right, from that Solicitor
Indeed,
General, right?
indeed, like I said, you and I are former journalists, if we're not current, but we are former journalists, any way you want to describe it. And we want to bring ethical balance to this situation. We didn't want to just take one side of the story. So we did everything to reach out to the Solicitor General, who happens to be our friend back in Liberia when I was president of the President of Liberia. So I thought to use other contacts I have to see if I could reach him to get his side of the story. And indeed, we managed to get his side of the story. We really wanted him to appear in this program today, but he is not willing to appear on this program right now. But he sends his statement, and we will read it word by word. And I want you to know that after he sent this statement, we follow up with him with our own comments based on what he stated. And then if we have time, we'll go through step by step, my response, his response, my response, his response, so that you see that we try to make sure we get him to defend himself. He has a right to do that. So this is what he wrote me, and I will read it.
And who
He
is
said,
him? What is his
oh,
name? His
Miss
full
Cephas,
name,
Cephas, the person I was mentioned in the tip. That's the person we're talking about.
first and
Nobody,
last name, and his position
yeah, Solicitor General Liberia, Cephas,
at the Ministry of Justice.
Minister of
Okay.
Justice, Serena Cephas. Yeah, that's the person we're talking about. That is mentioned in the tip. Good cross-examination, counsel.
Okay. No, he's accused. I mean, he's accused of
Yeah,
involving in these
yeah,
gruesome murders.
yeah.
So go ahead, please.
This is a serious matter, and this was his first response. Like I said, we went back and forth, and he said, "Good morning, my dear brother. After a careful review of the tons of lies and games of blackmail, the office of the Solicitor General has decided not to stoop so low to such level of insanity. The Solicitor General has vehemently refuted the baseless allegations. So, so to Mr. Oferi Dua, whom she claimed told her about the involvement of me, Councillor Livingstone, Honorable McGill, and His Excellency President George Manawia. This means the burden of proof has shifted back to her, not just to engage in making sweeping allegations, but to produce material evidence. You should remember that this platform is a public opinion court where opinions are driven by political, commercial, religious, or ethnic considerations. When such an inflammatory environment is created, as it seems in this case. Men and women of limited vision and courage are fond of manufacturing the most aside slander to tarnish the characters of the perceived enemy. He continues, Helen's objective for taking this nefarious campaign is my refusal to turn a mere corporate dispute into a criminal matter. Her alliances with Kabina Janet and Bishop Kotu Brown are either driven by political and, and ethnic considerations, and therefore there's no middle ground for a second thought. Let the Liberian people decide. This was his first response, and then I follow up by this email or by this text to him. Good hearing from you, sir. Thanks for responding to our in parentheses, I mean, Alex and I request through our friend Mason to invite you to our live broadcast to discuss Miss Ellis Cochran's explosive accusation against you regarding ritualistic activities in Liberia. Professional ethics bound us to afford you an equal opportunity to provide a defense for yourself. While we acknowledge receipt of your written response to her allegations, we believe that appearing with us on the live podcast would bring more urgency to the issue and help us follow up and help us do follow-ups for clarity and specificities. We look forward to discussing your appearance the soonest, sir. I can be reached at, and I get my phone number and email. And I said, please accept our compliments of high esteem. Regards, Soa Dede, Gracious Hope, live podcast.
Okay, so in essence, he's denying. He said it's all rumor, it's all
He
lies.
says all rumors, it's all lies. He already
Okay.
responded to it in this thing, and he didn't have no need, no reason to go back on that. And besides, the allegation she has to do with political machinations and the rest of that. And he calls her names that engaged in what would I say, encouraging Helen, and he
Hmm.
mentioned Kabina Jana, the former uh, former justice,
Justice.
yeah, the former justice, and Bishop Cotto. So then I replied to what he said, what I just read, and this is what he said to my follow-up reply. Reverend Sua, I warmly welcome your determination to reach out to reach over to me after almost a decade. However, I am deeply baffled. Now listen to this. However, I'm deeply baffled and not ruffled by what you term equal opportunity to provide a defense for myself. Your podcast is a platform for exchange of ideas and not a competent code of jurisdiction. That being said, I find it absolutely inconceivable to accept what you term as provide a defense for myself. Moreover, nobody can swim and compete with a pig in the mud. This lady is soulless, and being a convict she is, it would be a disgrace for me to stoop so low to such craps and therefore debase my office to what seems a swimming contest with a swine, quote unquote. That's what he said. But then I didn't stop there. I followed up with him because we want to make sure we give him all reasons to see that we want him to come on the program to defend himself. And then this was my response to this one. My dear brother Cephas, you and I have media or journalistic backgrounds. My e- by an equal opportunity, I simply mean a fair chance, as we media people do when someone is accused. You know what I meant, brother. Then I continue. The live podcast is not a court of competent jurisdiction in any way, and Ellis and I don't portray it as such. The reasons proffered for your disposition to appear on the live podcast is understood. All we request is to speak to all those at home and abroad who know and respect you. Let them hear from you themselves rather than we reading your statement on air. For instance, you mentioned two prominent Liberians in your statement. The public would like to know their roles, don't you think? Again, brother, we would be glad if you can join us on the live podcast at the time of your choosing. Thanks much, regards, and I ended that. Then he replied to that. He said, Reverend Soa, as you are aware, the rules of procedures and evidence, which he put the acronym is
Mhm.
RPE, is Deuteronomy chapter 19, 15 to 21,
Mhm.
which I am just the mere accused, and the allegations need to be corroborated by two or three witnesses. The lady said, Oforidua said, and Oforidua has denied saying or making such statement. So what is there for me to clarify? I can't swim with a swine in a mud. And then I follow up to that. And this is my follow up. Counsel, you could have the public understand the rules of the two prominent Liberians you mentioned in your statement to us. No, let me read that again. I said, Counsel, could you help the public understand the roles of the two prominent Liberians you mentioned in your statement to us? If you don't appear, we read your statement, don't you think questions will arise regarding them? Don't you think the same measure of scripture you quoted applies as well for them? Brother, you know our role here. Let's talk about this on the phone so that we see through all of this. I appreciate your responses thus far, regard. And then he followed up with this one, in which I'm going to read again. Reverend Soa, I relish your concerns and patience, but it's
Mhm.
for a waste of time to provide evidence against someone like Bishop Cotto Brown, who is on record for vilifying me on a public radio on account of Ellen's insanity, or a person like Gabina Janet, who was ignorant, in, in, what? In, let me get this word, it's misspelled here,
You can just paraphrase
ignominiously,
it.
yeah,
Mhm.
ignominiously impeached for corruption, and who has been making frantic efforts to bring me down. Remember, I was the lead counsel in the management team that impeached this atheist who has get crushed on the Liberian scene by means of alarm armed struggle through the defunct Lord rebels. Let Bishop Cotton Brown deny that he did not go amok on live radio verifying me. And then this was my final text to him.
Mhm.
Uh, and I said, Brother Cephas, you have expressed some very strong utterances on this matter. We hear you. We really don't perceive your appearance as a waste of time. The foregoing testifies to the urgency for your appearance to lay bare this issue to the public. Why you address Ms. Cochran's accusations. We would appreciate if you consider your disposition to appear live with Ellis and I. Looking forward to that. Thanks, sir. Regards. And then interestingly, he said, so you telling people that I am appearing on your podcast? I never told you that. And then this was my response. Brother, I didn't say that. We cannot do that until we confirm your acceptance to appear. Counsel, you know fully well who you are dealing with. My professional ethical adherence remains intact. You got you got me laughing so hard, brother. Remembering our POL days. Looking forward to your acceptance of our invitation to appear with Alex and I uh, on the podcast. Do you remember Alex from DC 101? And I said, guys, and that was it. He did not reply to this one. So as you can
Okay.
see, we did
Mhm.
everything we could to get the brother to come and appear on this live program to explain himself after making some allegations against two permanent Liberian citizens. So this is where we stand, brother.
Yeah, but it is good that he responded with the letter, and that of course is his own statement, which of course he cannot deny. But the fact is, if you are sitting Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia at the Justice Ministry. You work for the people, and the people are the ones who you answer to, even though you have your boss, the executive. However, when these alarming situations occur, I believe that the justice ministry should stand up in every way. And I'm not saying they are not doing anything, because we have a response here from the government's mouthpiece in the person of Minister Lechehu Rennie, information minister. He released a press statement on September 30th, um, actually debunking, or here he says that he dismissed the national police, that is the Liberia National Police Director, dismissed all of the claims that there was a spate of racialized killings going on in the country. He says that the LMP authorities said they have not established any evidence of such killings as widely rumored. Okay. And he goes on to say that, in fact, it is sickening and wicked for some Liberians to engage in such a devilish ploy only to damage the image of government and the country for personal political gains. And he goes on to enumerate some of the uh, uh, things that have been happening or reported in the media or on social media, particularly. He said that those are all allegations. He calls them so called victims of the alleged crimes had no iota of truth, and that at most could not even be verified by uh, or verify where the incident took place, including a man claiming to have been whisked to Bond County to be murdered. And he praised the Liberia National Police for their professional manner in handling these unvalid or invalid allegations by saying, good always triumph over evil. He goes on to say that the alleged victim that they're talking about here in this case show that he never even left Morovia, the Morovia area, and during the period that the police was investigating. He says, "What a shame!" According to him, that is Minister Rennie, he says it's a shame for people to concord ploy in order to damage the image of the weird government. He said the police investigation uncovered to be untrue. They claim on social media that motorist named Daniel Boki was murdered on Wednesday, September 29th, 2001, when that crime instead actually happened in 2018. So the images for Daniel Boki on social media, according to the Mikat boss, Ledger who running, it is false. Okay. And he said it is all done on as a way to show that sheer act of cowardice and spreading such brazen falsehood. And he goes on to say it is a false claim of the People's Liberation Party Secretary General David Bien, who said he had been attacked by unknown gunmen, but was later found by police to be far from the truth. So the police inquest, which involved subpoena the medical records, established that Bien shot himself accidentally and tried to cover up his action because he had allegedly acquired a gun. And he goes on in this press release by saying that these are all alarming actions by unscrupulous people intended to deliberately malign the image of the weird government and the country for selfish political motives. So he goes on to say that the latest action is a repetition of the similar perversion that happened in 2018 when a group of people created a hoax that $16 billion came to the country, but after international investigation, it was established to be untrue. So other semi-political ploys involve Madame Justina Taylor, a person who falsely claimed to have been a victim of torture, creating a violent protest and erroneous assertion that employees of the Liberia or Liberian Revenue Authority were murdered. He called these allegations as machinations, and they are all designed by unpatriotic Liberians who don't appear to have moved beyond the 2017 general and presidential elections, which, of course, they lost. So he said he calls them selfish people, and their actions are selfish and is hurting the country. So that is the official mouthpiece of the government, Information Minister Leche Hureni, saying that. However, we heard in the news that an official of the opposition party was arrested for sharing a grisly image on social media where a woman was lying on a table, cut her belly. Her belly was open. I don't want to describe all of that. He
Mm.
said that the police investigated and they found that image to be false, and he was arrested while campaigning in some part of the rural country, part of the rural land. I don't know whether it's Banga or somewhere else, and he was arrested for that. So he's ongoing investigation or questioning with the police. Also here, we see an opposition leader here of the ANC, political leader Alexander B. Cummings Jr. In response to the situation, he said that um, uh, what he has seen on social media early on Wednesday, saying it is clear that our security sector is understaffed, unpaid, and overwhelmed, and this cannot continue. And therefore, he's calling on President Weah to redirect every penny he intends to spend on his elaborate birthday or glamorous birthday celebration into the security sector. And he said we need to empower our community policing and night patrol and strengthen community groups to work with the police in each community. So he says this should also include the distribution of basic material and basic training. So that's what he's calling for. And Senator Yombly Conga Lawrence, in response to the situation, she also said that is she's from the opposition Liberty Party. She said that upon our arrival in Liberia tomorrow, we will start a women's movement against the killing of our children, mothers and sisters, brothers and husbands. All women voices must be heard at every level, from the vice president down, and this must stop. Our survival is at stake, and Liberians must be must live in a safe condition, and it's for all of us good. So these two opposition leaders reacted, calling on the government to take action. But so far, from what I've seen from the information minister, he is saying all this is just a hoax, just a ploy to damage the government. But we see these grisly images, and people are actually reporting these things to be true. I'm not sure whether there is any kind of acknowledgement on the part of government here to take some responsibility or constitutional responsibility to bring those who are involved to justice. Reverend
Yeah,
Dede.
sure. Yeah, sure. In fact, our constitution in Article 11A, A, B, C, calls for the right to life and liberty. So the constitution gives that protection for citizens to be protected by the government, and the rights seen as sacrosanct. But besides that, I have an editorial for the front page of Africa Today in my right before me here, but it was published on September 30th, just about the same time the information ministry released their statement. And I just want to go through a little
Go
bit.
ahead.
Just,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It said that it begins, and I quote, despite of killings, excuse me, despite of killings for ritual purposes is gradually assuming an alarming rate in Liberia, with little or no effort by the government of President George Weah to checkmate the trend. It continues, official statistics indicate that there has been an increase in the number of missing persons all over the country in recent times. Some are found while others are not. The editorial continues, there is speculation that the majority of those who disappear perpetually without a trace are often victims of ritual killings. I continue. One would have expected such acts to be thing of the past following decades of civil war in Liberia, which claimed the lives of over 150,000 people and made hundreds of citizens become refugees throughout the region. The
Mhm.
editorial continues, but sadly, murdering people to appease the deities appears to be on the increase in Liberia. These ritualists hide under different covers to get their victims. For some, they kidnap their victims from various points, while others, who tend to be commercial drivers, pick unsuspecting commuters at bus stop only to take them to their slaughter or slabs to carry out what they know how to do best. The editorial continues. Recently, the lifeless body of a girl believed to be in her 30s were discovered in Carwell with body parts extracted. Till date, perpetrators of the deathly act are yet to be found. The editorial of Front Page Africa continues. A day earlier, another lifeless body of a man believed to be in his 40s was found in the Soul Clinic community. As at the time the body was recovered, some parts had been removed. They included his spinach, eyes, and tongue. Still, the perpetrators have yet to be arrested. And the
Hmm.
editorial continues, given the rate of increase in ritual killings in Liberia, no one is immune from becoming a victim. But some people are at greater risk. People with mental illnesses and virgins are unique targets, as the ritualists allegedly believe that their eccentrics and purity make for them a more
Yeah.
viable
So
sacrifice. Yeah.
I know. I
So
know. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
we're out of time. I just wanted for to summarize that quick. I want to
yeah.
see. Want to citing two examples here, but it's saying at an alarming rate. They did not actually give a lot of examples of people dying because it said most part of the country.
Yeah, but
Or they,
even if there's two or three persons, there's still people lives being lost, and
of
yeah,
course.
so it's something that calls for the
But
government. And all front push is saying that the government should step into the picture and arrest the
and do something
situation.
about it.
Yeah, that's the bottom line of what I see. Or looking at the article up to the end, that is the message that front page is sending. From what I see here.
Okay. Yeah, and but the overall here, what we have put forward so far, that accusation about the the minister at the justice, the solicitor general, I'm not sure if the Liberian people would demand that he be investigated for the allegations, but the person who made the allegation is living in the United States, so. I don't know how credible is that allegation. I mean, anybody can, get up and say anything, about anybody, but in order to make it more credible, something has to be done. However, this whole ritualistic killing going in our country, whether it is being rumor or reality, and we can see a credible newspaper media, cited examples here, and other people who are witnesses, and we are hoping that we'll have some people whose family have experienced this murder to come on this program to speak up.
Yes,
Uh,
that's fair enough. I think that should be. If we can have those
yes,
people, it'll be
yeah,
fine.
to
Yeah.
speak up, and we are open, to welcome you to this program, because in the next few weeks this is what we'll be discussing as a way to create awareness, because as Christians, and we want to say our country is a Christian nation, and we're killing each other and chopping each other, that is gruesome. And I believe that if our country is to progress, bloodletting, or when our fingers are filled with guilt and blood, hands with blood, there will be no progress. We'll be hindering our own progress. And if all of these allegations are proven to be true, then our country is not moving forward, it's moving backward. In other words, we are undermining ourselves if this is going through, because this is not a country where we um, uh, give our hearts to say to God. according to our Constitution or preamble, that God, the sovereign God, through His grace, we survive. And if we know God, then we should not be involved in ritualistic killing or harming other people. We ought to what? Love one another, Reverend Daddy, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's
Love
the
God and
biblical
love one
principle.
another.
Yeah, that's the biblical principle. That's how we should be doing, and stop the killing because it says uh seriously against God's word. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill means don't kill. That's God's word. So if you do that, you are going against God's principle of the sanctity of life, and that's why we are discussing this thing today. And on a serious note, front page editorial makes a whole lot of sense, calling on government to really respond to the situation. And I'm happy that Information Minister, Leto Rini, issued that statement, uh, quoting what police said. But again, besides that statement, front page is saying that bodies are being discovered and the rest of that. I'm sure government going to investigate or follow up investigation to get down to the root of this situation, to nip the issue in the bud, to stop this ritualistic killing. And Alex, I know this is not the first time. It happened in the 70s, and the Maryland 7 were hanged on the cross, on the cross, on a gallows for killing people in Maryland. And this situation is up ahead again in our country. We don't want that. We don't want people lives being taken away by people who have different reasons to promote themselves for political or whatever. We don't know uh, the whole story yet so far, but we are reporting and discussing what we've heard so far in our society. So we pray that things will change for the better. Our people will live in peace and not be worried about the children living in homes and not coming back to them, or father and mother living in homes and not coming back to them. Is worrying, it is fearful, it is saddening, and it should not be happening in our country. And I hope the government will do something about it, as the minister published in his statement. That's what I have to say for now. We're running out of time, Brother Alex.
Yeah, we'd like to say thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back at next Saturday to continue this discussion, because it is all about public awareness, and it is about the issue of justice. If you believe in justice, well, this is the time that we all need to step up and create awareness, because it is all wickedness. And if we allow wickedness to pervade in our country, guess what? We will be living in a banana republic. That is, anybody can do anything. It reminds me about the book of Deuteronomy, where the Israelites were doing anything that was pleasing to their own eyes. And that is uh, taking the eyes off of God, okay, the sovereign God, and then keeping our eyes on ourselves. Because ritualistic killings involve taking parts for some sort of ritualistic uh, thing to appease a deity, or to maybe give sacrifice to some sort of God out there and not a real God. That, of course, is something that we should never encourage in our society. We should be decent in every way and treat one another accordingly with respect and dignity. Love. Love is the essence, and Jesus Christ emphasized that over and over. If you profess to be a Christian, yes, the way people will know that you're a true Christian or follower of Jesus Christ is when you express that love outwardly to other people, not by harming them, not by killing them, because it is a breaking of God's law, thou shalt not kill. We've had war, and over 200,000 people passed away, died. We have gone through blood. The blood time should pass, and now let us all make it normal by loving each other, reconciling, and see how we can depend on God as a nation, repent of our sin, and ask for His forgiveness, and so that we can have a lovely homeland. But killing each other, it is just totally out of whack, Reverend Dede.
Yeah, indeed, brother. You summarized the whole issue eloquently, and I don't think I have much to add to that. But all I can say is this: if you want to keep life, you have no right to take anybody life from them. If you want to enjoy your life, you have no moral authority to snap somebody else's life from them. In as much as you are afraid to die, you should not take somebody's life away. and that's how I want to leave it today. It is sad. I'm feeling very sad right now that this thing is coming back in our country after what happened in the 70s. You remember Grady Allison was convicted of killing Melvin Officer Melvin Pine. So this thing has been happening in our country for a long time. And the Maryland situation, the Maryland 7, as keep mentioning that Yancey or Anderson and the rest of that. Uh, President Toba put his feet down. He said, if you kill, you'll be killed. And that will suffice. So our government has a lot to play. Besides statement from the government, the president might have to say something to allay the, excuse me, to allay the fears of Liberians who are now so fearful that they can't leave their homes at night. After 6 o'clock, from what I heard, it could be true or false. People hardly want to leave their home at night because they are fearful that they might not return home. This should not be happening in our country after Civil War, when people should be getting back to serious business. It's sad. It's unacceptable. It should not be happening at all in dear mother Liberia.
especially in the 21st century
Yeah,
civilized society. There's
yeah,
no need to seek extra supernatural power when you profess to be a Christian, depend on Christ, and all road leads to Christ. And that's where you receive your spiritual enrichment from, and nothing else. If anything out of Christ or God, then it is what? The devil's portion. Then that's how we'll conclude our podcast here for today on KMTV. We are everywhere, and we'll be back in next Saturday. Don't forget, okay, we'll be here 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, and 8 p.m. GMT. For those of you who live in Liberia, we are here every weekend. And of course, you can also get our app on your phone. Go to the Google Play Store or the iTunes Store or the entire App Store. Look for Gracious Hope Bible Fellowship, and you can get an app, download it on your phone, or visit our YouTube page as well as our Facebook group page, and you will find a lot of biblical resources to enhance your spiritual life. And that's how we end here. We'll be back here next Saturday. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to share this link, okay? My name is Alexander Red and Reverend Swat Dede. You have a happy weekend, and we'll see you next Saturday. We'll be here tomorrow anyway, tomorrow afternoon, to bring the message, the gospel message of Christ. See you again, and we'll see you again.
God bless you. God bless you.